Right, hi there everyone, hi and welcome everyone into yet another stream. So, hi, it's gaming, hi. Now, let me just set everything up properly. Today we're going to be having fun. That's the point of today's stream. We're going to be having fun. We're going to be enjoying ourselves. That's it. Hi, the Libby Gamer, hi. Absolute cinema indeed. So, welcome to my physics table. Recently we've been doing a lot of theoretical things. That makes sense. I'm working on the quantum mechanics charity checkpoint, so it makes sense we've only been dealing with theoretical stuff. However, I am sick of it, I'll be honest. Don't get me wrong, I like theoretical physics, but come on, I have my limits. And so that's why today I would like to get back to an old favorite of mine. That is the one, the only, fix-it. Or rather, before we get there, we'll do some other things. We love having fun. Exactly. It's fun. Precisely that. Let me first make sure everything is correct. Everything is spot on. There we go. Splendid. What a messy desk. Yeah, it's my work desk. What did you expect? Have you ever seen a clean work desk? If you have a clean work desk, then you're using it wrong. So, I'll be honest. My idea is to just... How many forgotten projects do you have on it? None of them are forgotten, all of them are delayed. Such is life. Unfortunately, such is life. I think that what we're going to do today is... I'm just going to pick up some kind of component, I'm just going to pop it on the table and then we're just going to work with it. That's an idea. Okay. Ooh, that's good. It tastes like cold sewage, but it's still coffee. Actually, no, it tastes like hot sewage because it's freshly made. So, let me first... Oh, where should we even begin? Well, first by adjusting the focus a bit, because I'm not satisfied with it. Yeah, it should be fine. Alright. First we could begin with this, actually. Oh, I need a USB cable. Oh, it certainly has been a while. Hold on, I need to get my USB cable extension. It certainly has been a while. Months, literally. Literally not figurative. Fortunately, I have it still. Right. This ought to hopefully work. Splendid. Don't you dare fall. You better stay there. Hi, the Panzer. Here we're building. Exactly. As I mentioned, today we're going to have fun. That's the purpose. I will need a decent data USB cable, which not quite certain if I have on hand. I definitely do have it somewhere, just not certain if I have it on hand. No, it's a probe. No. I don't have it here, give me a second. I'm going to check in my cables drawer, because, well, the cable is going to be anywhere. It should be in the cables drawer. Right, this. Every single goddamn type of a USB cable except for the standard one. Why do we need so many USB cables? So many different types. It's not even USB-C or the classic USB anymore. It's just so many. And for what reason? For what possible purpose? Damn it. Well, No, I definitely have a USB cable. I must have it somewhere. I mean, come on. Somewhere is like Electronics Workshop, but more clean somehow. Yeah. I knew I had it somewhere. Found it. And if I'm not mistaken, a comically short. This is my comically short USB cable. My beloved. Alright. Can I just plug you in? No, obviously. Life would be too simple. Set of screws as well. Jeez, it has been ages. I'm forgetting where everything is. I am just absolutely forgetting where everything is. If I do recall correctly, I have been using the dinguses for this. Because they were easy to operate, right? Egg on my face. It is almost the perfect size. But we'd rather take a hex. I didn't hear what you were doing today. So what are you doing today? Well, you should have been listening better then. Unbelievable kids these days, I swear. I said we were going to be having fun. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Right, this is slightly too big. Splendid. I've just been really itching to do something practical. You know that feeling when you're just doing too much theoretical stuff and you just really want to get real? Basically that. Alright. I have never even assembled Fixit fully. Like, I've implemented all of the features separately. I've never even fully assembled them. Huh. Eventually I'll have to get on that. But first, the Raspberry. Because we also... Slightly too big, that's what she said, exactly. That's the spirit. I'm feeling really weak today as well. You know, just that kind of day. It's been exhausting. There we go. That one is slightly too big, this one's slightly too small. Jeez, pick a lane. I'm drawing on my game address. I didn't use it because my brain is so full of trying to fix bugs. Well, you can't put bugs in the first place. That's a simple idea, how to fix bugs. The easiest way to fix mistakes is to not make them in the first place. Drink water, gotta stay hydrated. I swear, water is not my problem. That is not my concern. Right. Pop it in. Couldn't help but notice that I did not in fact hear a connection sound, which worries me. And if I recall correctly, oh, I'm going to be jogging some pretty serious knowledge right here. This should light up. Would you look at that? He's a professional. Alright, splendid. So, if I am not mistaken, and I'm never mistaken, we can just and such and only. Well, right, there we go. CD desktop projects, surgery, maybe a temp. I'm pretty certain I already have temp Raspberry Pi. I don't! Wow, would you look at that? RP Pico. Splendid! Okay. So. These are some pretty old muscles I'm stretching right here. And by that I mean like I haven't done it in 2 or 3 months, so that's not a great sign. That's a pretty bad sign, in fact. Oh no. Kind of solved Navy's dogs, biting his assumption and going the molecular merry-go-round. I'm sorry, what now? What do you mean you've solved Navy's dogs? Do elaborate. Okay, I don't think it's a data cable because it's not working. So we're going to need another cable. We're going to need to find a better one. The one that actually can function in data. Give me right back, we'll be right back. Am I having a stroke? Did I just say give me right? You know what? Whatever. Doesn't matter. As I mentioned, I'm not having a good day today, alright? Cut me some slack for goodness sake. Kids these days are absolutely for no reason. And then you just think that it wants to want, but you know, just take what that's not going on. Haha! I found one. I have in fact found one. This is, I'm pretty certain, the one we've been using last time. Also a comically short USB cable. All of my USB cables are comically short. USB-C ones are way longer than needed, but the typical USB ones are comically short. Once again, no boot noise, that's quite worrying. Alright, nope, doesn't work as a data cable either. So far we're 2 for 0. And the search continues. Oh, I think we're actually using an adapter, now that I think about it. Hi the Bath, how you doing? I think what we've been using is an adapter. Yes. Because otherwise this speaker would have to be busted, which, well, I mean, I have another one I can test. But unlikely. Quite a fair bit unlikely. So token constraints in the universe needed and assumptions went full molecular. Basically going, nah mate, we don't make shit in one point like bosons. Yeah, I mean, still good for you for solving it, I suppose. Unfortunately, I will not lie to you, I am not familiar enough with the topic to say much about it. I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to absolutely lose my mind. Or maybe I already have, who knows? This is why we can't have good things, because you need a bloody USB cable when ESP is already upgraded to a USB-C. Anything here? No. Alright. Unbelievable. I'm okay, make it. Glad to hear you are doing okay. Really glad. Anything interesting happened? You can't lose your mind if you don't have one in the first place. Some folks are telling me I'm not a god. Well, that tends to happen. Hi Drash, how you doing? But well, I am. I don't mean to be that. But nothing is more godly than feeling the need to reaffirm that you are in fact a god. Me no VC because me in library, yes, I see. Well, good luck in the library. Are you losing yourself in harmonic analysis again? So many bloody brilliant USB-C. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't expecting the find of a USB cable to be the difficult part of this project. In fact, I was expecting it to be quite a simple one. This is supposed to be the easy part, if anything. No harmonic analysis, I'm doing regular function analysis. I did additional analysis because I'm genuinely fearing my FA exams. That's fair, that's quite fair. found one sucker. Alright, this one is a different color, which... I swear, how many USB cables does it take? Let's try this. Didn't do anything, brilliant. Alright, still, it could just not have an operating system. I'm going to defenestrate, choose what I'm going to do. How about the other one? Because now I'm growing skeptical. I'm starting to have a sneaking suspicion that something on my setup might be wrong, you know? Okay, what's up, Buff? What do you need? Well, not famous, I did go through at least 10 to 15 pages within 4 hours. I have a godly pace on this, but the topic up ahead are more difficult, so yeah, let's see. Oh, good luck. If there's anyone that I know who could do it, that should be you. So make it 3 times to make it stream. Yeah, that tends to happen. This is ending up as much more of a problem than I expected. I mean, worst comes to worst, I can just ditch it for another controller. And by that I mean, you know, ditch the Picos entirely for something like... Well, honestly, I could just use Fixit, because that one I just need to plug into power and it works. Make it tamely a joke. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. I will say a joke if I bloody please so. Okay. I was not expecting to find a... Sorry, I'm telling you to do. Well, it's alright, you know, everyone makes mistakes, it's fine. Do it, joke man. Mods kill X Gaming right now. I'm going for a goddamn USB cable. If X Gaming is still alive by the time I get back. No, I refuse to believe. This cannot be. This cannot stand. It must lie. Alright, you know what? Life is about knowing when to give up. And I'm bad at knowing when to give up. So I'm going to keep trying the same thing over and over again, expecting things to change. Because I'm pretty certain that's the definition of sanity. You fool, I have 70 alternate accounts. Yeah, and I have a ban button. The difference being that... Yes! Oh, absolutely. Beautiful. I have never... Oh my goodness, I've never thought that a single piece of electrical wiring could be quite as beautiful as you are right now, but... Well, you've proven me wrong. There we go. Yes. This in, and I'm pretty certain this adapter actually transfers data. Come on. Still didn't hear a sound. It could be possible that both of these Raspberry Pis are fried, but my goodness, that's unlikely. Yes, it worked. Okay, brilliant, it worked. Now, you may notice that there is absolutely no difference between it working and it not working, and so you might be confused how I know that it worked, and that's because I just know these things. At a certain point, you just learn how to talk with the machine spirits, and then you just can figure this stuff out. Why am I drunk? I don't drink. Well, it's never been a better place to start. Right, first things first, we need to give it life. Wait, did it not work? It did work. You did work, so why aren't you just trust me? Come on, don't be shy. There we go. Don't be shy. I'm not gonna bite unless you pay me. Damn it. Actually, I've been meaning to ask, this whole bit of like, oh, there we go, beautiful. This whole bit of like you being God, is there anything to it? As in, oh, the camera angle was messed up, I just realized. There we go. As in, where did it start? Because the bit of like, you know, me having a God complex, that's an old one. And that one is stemming from workaholism. Bit of a long story. Where did your bit start from? Because I kind of missed out on the beginning of it, I think, to be honest. What about this one? Can it just be plug and play? I am incredible. I've done it. There we go. So now if we take this LED right here, if we pop it in like so, like this, there we go. Then if we do from machine import pin 1, oh, I really hope I remember how this works. Pin 1, pin out value 1. Hold on, let me just make this bit. There we go. And then I said, let there be light. Haha! Look at that! I am incredible! I still got it, even though it's about the simplest thing you can do. Doesn't matter. The point is, it works. Actually, I haven't mentioned it. The bit. How do you know about Make It? Except for the stream, of course. I've seen it on Discord a couple of times mentioned, like you being a god. The god thing. I've never completely got it, to be frankly honest with you, because as I mentioned, I missed out on the beginning of the joke. There is a reason I'm called Panzer. Aren't you a tank? I thought that was the thing. Right, so what we're going to be doing, this is brilliant, because this already works. Which means, I started the cold make it. Oh, I've been there. I don't mean to be that guy, Bav, but you should really be careful where you're going with this. If you keep going the way I think you're gonna keep going, I think I'll need to file suit for copyright infringement. Where's my thingamajig? The thingy. Ah, whatever, I'm just gonna use a knife. As if it matters. Right. There we go. So, this is a really simple controller thing. I have never used it in my entire life, and so I think right now we're about fine time to figure out how it works. I am a tank, but with ADHD and somehow can do math. I've got to be honest with you, Panzer. I actually don't know if it's unusual for tanks. I don't know many tanks. Now that you mention it, I think you might be the only tank I know. Why am I opening it up? I should first just try to see if it works. Let me see, let me guess. Oh, nothing is labeled. Brilliant. Don't worry, I can figure it out with my incredible mind powers. I'm going to guess that it is in fact ground signal voltage. Although it could be ground voltage signal, in which case I might just fry it, but you know. It's Bavko, I kind of just came up with reciprocate myself as a god and came with the Pope. Came up proposed person with the devil and we went with it. I see. I see. Man, this is god is just because, jeez, you all have a whole Olympus over there. Right. Fingers crossed I don't fry it, because I might. No, it should be ground voltage signal. It's honestly a 50-50. I need a coin. There. Let me see. Okay, we're going for ground voltage signal. So, in order to see if it works, which I think it came. Is this a UV LED? It might be. Brilliant. We need normal LED, which lights up. That's good. And then I'm going to just assume that the middle one is signal. I might fry it regardless. I also don't know what voltage it operates under because nothing is labeled. Just label your stuff, people, I swear. The curve like and go, so it probably did. I see. That does make a lot more sense now. Make it. I'm going to make some thermite. Have any tips on what not to do with it? Don't light it on fire. That's a good one. That's because most people underestimate just how hot thermite actually is. You do not have a way to contain it. Oh no, it is ground voltage and then signal because it's brown, red, and then orange. Even you, who uses orange for signal instead of yellow? Disgusting, but it doesn't matter. The point is, it will work. Don't light the thermite on fire because you have no way to contain it. I very much doubt you have something heat resistant enough to resist thermite. Also, another thing, in order to set thermite on fire, you need something pretty hot on its own. Because the reaction keeps itself going due to its incredible temperature, but to actually kickstart the reaction, well, that takes some juice. That's not easy. We won't preserve them to above cooled for a significant portion of time. I see. Well, as I mentioned, now I know where it came from. Well, alright everyone, I'm about to plug it in. I need you all to give me a number, because I'm going to be absolutely and purely guessing what the voltage should be. Give me a number between... a reasonable number, that's it. 67. Ash, I'm not disappointed, I am mad. You know what, no, I'm both mad and disappointed actually. I'm both, yeah. This is going to be a tricky one to hold by. Alright. Okay. Alright. Well, last time I didn't set anything on fire. That's the end of my sentence. It was too good to not. It really wasn't. It really wasn't. I wouldn't say it was too good. I wouldn't even say it was good. Disappointing is genuinely the only word that comes to my mind. I expected better. Ground voltage and then signal, which means we connect ground voltage and then signal. We connect signal to the ground with the LED, because that's what we'll use in order to showcase if it's working. And then, right, we need the ground right here. We need the voltage. Bloody hell, how am I gonna connect the voltage? I imagine easily. That's the answer probably. Give me the resistor. Cheers. Worst case scenario, I just burn everything here. I don't have a second one of these controllers, so I'd really rather not, but let's start with a modest 3 volts and amperage. Oh, let's lower the amperage to like a half, even though it doesn't matter. Is it hot? No. Okay, good. I'm going to increase it to 5 volts then. Haha! Well, 5 volts looks like it's doing the trick. The only problem being that this LED is permanently on, which I don't exactly like. Like, I think. Yeah, I think I get the gist of it. Now I do get the gist of it. Why is the blue LED turning on? Can you even see it? You can, okay. Oh, you can never walk on the first try, can you? That would be way too goddamn simple. I could assume that I'm incorrect and swap the wires. The problem with swapping the wires, however, would be that if I am correct, then I'm gonna fry it. I can see the LED, but why does it look white? It looks white because it's just really... Well, it's not that bright, but the camera just can't differentiate. White is close enough. God for mode must make campaign mode of becoming moderator. Good for you. Okay, I'll be honest, I do not have the strength to deal with this today. So, I'm going to give you one last try. Actually, before we do that, let me just check the battery. Okay, you either open or I'm getting the axe. 2 options. What's popping out? Ninja, not much, just having fun, enjoying life, you know, living it to the fullest. Really just happy, pleased. I don't think it has a battery. Give me the knife. I know there's some kind of trick to open it. Yeah, it doesn't have a bloody battery. Well, no wonder then. Oh, you're expecting me to provide a battery, are you? I don't think I have that kind of battery. You absolutely bloody suck if you're expecting me to... Who has the flat battery? I mean, I do probably have them somewhere. Give me a second. But normally people don't have them. Why wouldn't you include a battery? My goodness, what are you worried? It's gonna be too expensive. Ah, bloody hell. Why can nothing ever just work? I have a bad mood. Where's my batteries? I have so many different types, but we need a flat one for this. And flat ones, I do not have many. I only have a few. Hey, you wouldn't need to get the axe if you axe it to open nicely. Ash, hold on, I don't think this sigh was audible enough. There, I'm satisfied with this one. I just don't know how much I need to read for different classes. What do you need to read though? Is it something interesting or is it something exhausting? I swear I'm gonna take my UV flashlight on its own and I'm just gonna do it manually. I also have this one. This one might have a battery on its own, hold on. I don't know if you can see it. You can. It's very subtle. But it is in fact blinking. And we didn't even need the signal thing. Hold on. We didn't even need the signal LED because it's just straight up blinking on its own. But there we go! That worked. That actually bloody worked. Okay. That's good. I still don't know how to open it, and I'm worried that I may have broken this one just by using a knife. I mean, kind of. Right, that's how we open it. Gotcha. Splendid. Quick reload, don't mind me. And there we have it. all of these give out different signals. Now, the problem still stands in the form of the fact that we don't actually know what these signals are. If only we had some kind of device that could measure signals. Anyway, I'm going to go now, my kid. Have had fun ranting about my dumb jokes. Well, I'm glad you had fun. Oh, by the way, I finished season 4. I did in fact finish season 4. So the only last one remaining. And it was good. It really was good. Okay. Oh, in the past I used to have... this is a pickle. Because I have both Ryan and Love Power Supply share a power cable. Did you like it better than 3? I think I like the third one better, but the fourth one is certainly a close second. It is a really good one. I did like it a lot. And I find it comical that right now both Robin and Steve are both suffering, which Robin just went way closer to the Steve archetype of being perfect and getting constantly punished for it. I need to read a textbook chapter for social psychology, a chapter of one of focused works of criminology, and over the text about Spanish and Castilian, whether these are different things. They are stacking up very fast and I don't like it. Ninja, you can do it, believe in yourself. You can't let the haters get to you. Don't worry about how much they're stacking. Just take it one by one. Don't think about how much there is to do, because that is very counterproductive. Read them as if you were going to read them for you yourself personally, and don't worry, because at the end of the day you are reading them for yourself personally. You're reading them so that you yourself would know the class better, and that's kind of the spirit you have to approach it with. You cannot think, you cannot let the amount of work get to you, because if you let the amount of work get to you, you will get analysis paralysis, and that will be counterproductive, not helpful at all. Trust me, I've been there. I goddamn am there, because there is so much work for the charity. I'm fine, I'm having a good day. Let's just start this again. Right. This right here is giving us a signal, which is nice. The problem is we don't actually know what kind of signal it's giving us. Now, there could be some guesses, as in, you could say something like SPI, I2C, but none of that makes sense because it's actually a singular signal, it doesn't have a clock, which means we need to specify that this is definitely a signal that's static, first of all, doesn't have a clock. Second of all, it's probably pre-baked in, which means that it's... Oh, second nice clue is that it actually works at human speeds, because we can just genuinely see it. Which means it's probably something really slow, probably something baked in. Now, if we knew what kind of product we're dealing with, we could just look it up. However, we do not. This is random cheap garbage. That's the company. Which means that... Do you know the entirety of GR? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not even close. Not by a long shot. I am really, really far from knowing GR. I know about the Lorentz factor because it just has it's a very intuitive concept for me, but that's about it. Well, I also know like the intuition behind it. I know the basics. I know the concept of... I know the concept of the formalism because I had a lecture about GR by certain... Lorentz factor is SR though. Oh, is it SR? Well, yeah, then not even close. Now I don't even know GR. Then yeah, I don't know GR at all. Which does bother me, because GR is something I really wanted to get into. But I simply haven't had the time. Such is life. I don't remember how long ago I bought that actually. You know what? I need to take a break from taking a break, if you don't mind. I think I need to take a break from taking a break. Because my workaholism is acting up. So I'm going to take a break from taking a break, if you don't mind. You can piss off for now, because I'm gonna unplug you. Right. Make it. What do you recommend to do when learning organic chemistry? Like, what should I do to help me learn? Organic chemistry, oh, that's a tricky one. Organic chemistry. Well, I mean, IUPAC is certainly useful, although the problem is that organic chemistry requires a lot of memorization. I would say that... No, I don't think I have a good tip for you. I mean, IUPAC is an obvious one. There isn't really much to it. Give me a second, I need to reorganize my tabs. Okay, tabs have been reorganized. But yeah, I don't think I have a good tip for you, unfortunately. Why am I so exhausted? To learn organic chemistry, you need to learn chemistry A through N first. Ash, what's going on with you today? Honestly. You are not helping your case at all. Mathematics is frying your brain. Too much mathematics. It's just how D&D is conjured by the devil and involves satanic rituals. The same thing happens with mathematics. IUPAC, I have a book of all those rules, like should I practice mechanisms, no, etc. I will say that my approach, Panzer, to organic chemistry has been through quantum chemistry. As in, I approached organic chemistry. First things first, I should mention, I am not an expert in organic chemistry by far, not even close. I know organic chemistry maybe enough to make conversation, but the way I approached it is, I first started with general chemistry, going from quantum mechanics, as in getting into orbitals, and then that gives you a really, really nice intuition for the way that they interact in organic chemistry. Thinking of them graphically, thinking of them in terms of three-dimensional clouds of probability helps a lot to solidify your understanding. Basically, whenever you have some kind of reaction, that's how I would suggest you think about it. So orbitals and hybridizations, mainly orbitals, but as I mentioned, the most important thing I think is to think about them in terms of three-dimensional clouds of probability. If you think about them this way, you should understand it pretty well, I would say. Right. I'm sorry, I just got distracted by a bit. Yes. So, I've been working on some videos. Not as bonds, but overlapping probability clouds. Bonds specifically are overlapping probability clouds. That's what they are. So when you have an S bond and an S bond, when you have an S orbital and an S orbital, they come together to form a sigma orbital, like so. And so you should think about them in terms of bonding as addition, anti-bonding as subtraction. So you have, when you have two orbitals like this, both of these are S orbitals, but they can either bond through a bonding interaction of sigma, or they can bond through an anti-bonding interaction of anti-bonding sigma. And in this scenario, this right here is kind of like absolute value of S plus S. Right here it's more like absolute value of S minus S. Like this. That's how I would suggest you think about them. Because that's kind of what they are. When I say that I came at it from quantum mechanics, what I meant is that when you have wave functions, you genuinely do consider them, well, adding or not. The addition of a question mark leads me to believe that there is something you're not certain about the topic at hand. So what is it? What are the antibonding orbitals? Okay, so first let's start with what is a bonding orbital. Bonding orbital is just when two orbitals come together, they form a new orbital for you. So when you have an s orbital come together with an s orbital, they form a new orbital, that is the sigma orbital. However, there is this kind of rule in chemistry that if you have some amount of orbitals, right, going into an interaction, then you're getting the same amount of orbitals out. Which means that if you're taking two s orbitals, you need to get out two bonding orbitals out of it as well. So you're taking in your two s orbitals, and what you get are two new possible orbitals, either the bonding sigma or the anti-bonding sigma. Now, why do you get an anti-bonding sigma? Because the bonding one is pretty simple. Well, that's because these are wave functions, that is waves. And when you have waves, waves can interfere together either through constructive interference or destructive interference. And this one I'm going to show you with Desmos because that's just that much easier. Desmos.com. If you don't mind, I'm going to really quickly create a function, simply because it's going to make everything easier. S of x times e to the power of minus x squared. And then all of that divided by s, and then we're going to also take s into our function, and then f of x, and then s naught. Splendid. Let's do like 20, because why not? And then right here also we're going to do minus a, and then right here we're going to do a not, like so. Look at me, it's almost as if I'm a professional. There we go. So this will be our first s orbital. Okay? Now I think about this, like increase the wave function simply to make this pop a little bit more. There we go. This is our first s orbital. Then we're going to have a second s orbital right here, which we're going to keep its s at the same value of 20, but we're going to move it more to the left. All right, so these are our two orbitals. Does that make sense so far? Can you imagine it? We're talking about a one-dimensional universe in this scenario, not a three-dimensional, but can you see how this would be analogous to a three-dimensional universe, except this time we're dealing in one dimension, right? This is our first s orbital, this is the second one. I would really like a verbal confirmation. I'm going to wait. I just finished the first cup of coffee, getting ready on the second one. Nothing like working through my issues by literal work. Is my YouTube glitching or is there no response? Well, maybe restart it to see. No, my YouTube is not glitching. Panzer, are you there? If only I had a Thneku. I promise you, the second I'll tab away to work on the video, Panzer will just get back and only then respond. Alright, let's get back to work on the video. We have 3 videos I've been working on, and I have fully scripted, well, so far I've fully scripted the derivatives video, but I thought about adding some more to it. That's because so far it is talking about a couple of steady derivatives, but I was thinking that maybe I could add Maxwell's equations. Maxwellsequations.com. This is a brilliant website. That's because the curl operator is actually quite a nice thing. And I think Dell could solidify it pretty nicely. Just in case you don't, going to go over one more count over slightly advanced count, but hopefully correct spending derivative. I honestly was gonna. I'm honestly a bit upset. This was gonna be such a nice explanation. You know what? Doesn't matter. When life gives you lemons, you learn about Stokes' theorem. Anyhow. Anyhow. Let's get to Brandon. This video was meant to be a bit of a quicker follow-up. I was lucky making it look nice. Why not? It's not gonna cost me much. Other than my patience. Because it would just take longer to render, but that's fine, I can be working on the Lagrangian video in the background. Because yes, we are actually also getting to a Lagrangian formalism, which is quite a neat thing. Alright. I have been overusing the same exact metallic textures for such a long time, but they look really nice when lit up, so I have an excuse. Still, we're going to use something slightly different at least. The third one. Alright. Splendid. I hope everything is okay. It should be 256. We don't quite need, but no, whatever, we'll stick through it. Having fun, not on my watch. Don't worry, I'm having fun no longer, I'm working. I was very briefly having fun. My court mandated fun break has finished 15 minutes ago. Now it's back to work. Hi, the phone Wayne, hi. Oh, why is this so wet? There's absolutely no need for it to be quite so moist. This looks at least slightly better. Also, I think it would look better if I just dropped the floor ever so slightly, like -1. That would be a bit much even. Let's see. Why are the panels alternating like that? It looks like a chessboard. I don't like that, actually. Okay, it looks dry, it looks, well, frankly honest, shit. But don't worry, I can fix it. Why is the background so shiny, polish? Well no, it's shiny because I'm goddamn working hard to make it shiny. Alright, let's try this. Why my 1 minus this? Right, and then into a minus. Hold on, that feels idiotic. Why can I not think? I'm really not having a good day for my brain today, am I? We have x, 1 minus x, a minus 1 minus x. That's just a plus x minus 1. After learning about glycocorticosteroids, I'm not too sure. What is glycocorticosteroids? I mean, okay, glyco, that one I understand. Steroids, that one I heard of, don't understand. Middle, vaguely. Vaguely heard once or twice, no idea. Would you look at that? That worked, but it worked a bit too well. Steroids are they're anti-inflammatory, that are derivative of cortisol. Oh, I see. Okay. That does make sense naming wise. Still, once again, not certain what steroids are. Ah. Okay. Right. I know why glycol, because I didn't see glucose group in the molecules. Oh, well then never mind. There's... Huh. Hi, the Theo as well, hi. I have a study plan. It's too long to type it here, jeez. That good, eh? Steroids are fatty hormones. Do elaborate, because I'm not familiar with biochemistry, unfortunately, at all. So feel free to info dump. This would be the place. Okay. So GCC is used as anti-inflammatory drugs in asthma. Is the remedies name skin inflammations. Okay. Oh, there's so much work to be done because there's another thing. Also, this looks like absolute utter shit. And they have cholesterol carbon skeleton, which 6 months are made. GCC is then. Hold on. Let me reread everything. And there's a lot of names. Steroids are used for drugs in asthma, skin inflammations, and they have cholesterol carbon skeleton for 6 months are made. I see. Glycocorticosteroids. Yeah, I figured. I just had to zoom back up to figure to read. Well, that was the info dump. I'm glad to have witnessed it. I'm absolutely you have to excuse me. I'm absolutely atrocious at biochemistry because I've never even attempted to study it. So, unfortunately, I am not familiar with most topics. So I do need to have the information provided. I think I am experiencing a very peculiar kind of spiral. You see, 3 days ago, I've been experiencing a negative spiral. Right now, yesterday, I've experienced a positive spiral, which I've managed to stop, which means that today, it would be right on the money on the dot time to experience a manic spiral. That's not useful information. We don't learn biochemistry now. It's pharmacology, it's just drugs effects, adverse effects. I mean, isn't what you're describing biochemistry? Once again, I don't know much about biochemistry, so if I'm gonna trust you on this. Okay, let's take a pause here for a second. Because I need to organize myself. If I'm being disorganized, that's gonna be harmful. What have I got to make? I have 3 videos to make. I have work on the website. Do I have anything else? Well, I could be working on the fun bits on the stream, but I don't feel like it right now, so we're not gonna do that. Which means biochemistry is everything chemical in your body, so drug mechanisms are biochemistry, but we just learn what drug connects to what. Okay, that makes sense. That does make a lot of sense. Make it. Thoughts on popular Disney movies? The new ones, the old ones. I think they're way better than they have any right to be. Disney is famous for being a soulless corporation that just, crushes everyone for fun, and it's honestly baffling to me that they actually make good movies. Because, come on, they're kids' movies. They are kids' movies. Kids are dumb. It would be so easy for Disney to just, send out a whole bunch of shitty movies and just rake in the money still. But they actually make good movies, which I just don't understand why. But hey, I'm really glad they do. Give me a second, I need to make myself a list. Recent Disney movies are moving kind of shit. Which ones are you talking about? What kind? Biochemistry is everything. Oh yeah, no, I really read that. Jeez. Sorry, I only watch anime like Family Guy funny moments on TikTok. Name, but there was this one about a dragon that was essentially a genie, and the guy who liked the girl, and bad guys that wanted said genie. I'm not familiar with that one. You know what? Hold on. Let's look it up. Disney movies, Disney animated movies, and obviously we're looking for a Wikipedia list. I'm not going on official Disney page. Backwards. There we go. Well, I mean, okay. I see. Strange World was good. That one was a good one. Strange World was a really good movie, which was good. Encanto, that one is also absolutely brilliant. Raya and the Last Dragon, mwah, mwah, absolute chef's kiss, 10 out of 10. It's a movie that's basically like kids who watch. Like, the thing is, kids who watch Raya and the Last Dragon will grow up to be like Charles Xavier or Gandalf kind of people. And I think that's brilliant. Absolutely splendid. Frozen 2 I haven't seen. Ralph Breaks the Internet, not the biggest fan. Moana, once again, amazing. Zootopia also really good. Big Hero 6, I mean, I am biased. Obviously I'm biased, but come on, it's Big Hero 6. I would say they've been pretty good as of late. Wish was not a fan of the movie. I am a huge fan of the music. And the music was really good. But the Moana 2 I haven't seen, and Zootopia 2 I haven't seen. So these are, I don't know. So yeah, I would say my verdict would be not mid. Or not kind of shit. Pretty solid. Mid started to have the meaning of shit, which I hate. Is it because... Actually, you know what? Do go off. Do go off. I want to hear you out on that one. Go on. You have the spotlight. I am ready for a rant. Because this feels like a really good setup to a rant. Like when something is 4 to 6 out of 10, it isn't fucking atrocious. Like I don't know, Love Island. It's not good about just mid, and people say, "Oh, it's mid." I think I maybe can like it. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. I would say that is pretty valid. I see what you mean. Or like just because if you think about it, most things are mid. That's, you know, like you have the normal distribution. Like most things would be right here, would be in the mid category. So I see your point. It is a very pessimistic kind of view of, or not even pessimistic, only very picky kind of view. Have a good time. Alright, bye Ash, bye, have a good one. Has to be another marvelous, but honestly, that is actually, I never really put much mind to it, but that's honestly a really fair point. Okay. What would I like to do today on stream? I've never used any other color than blue. That just throw me off a bit. Today on stream, we can do these two. So let's do it this way. I'm going to note down on my phone a list of tasks that I would like to do today on stream. Because I need to organize myself. I'm having a manic spiral, which means I'm going to be extremely disorganized. I don't know, Tenet maybe because I don't know, it was called mid and shit because it was made during color restriction, but they were considered so fucking great. Who called Tenet mid? Oh, absolutely not. My bloody favorite movie of all time. Honestly, Tenet is my favorite movie. Show me the motherfucker who called Tenet mid, and I will show you a fucking liar. Tenet was incredible. It is the most Christopher Nolan movie. Well, okay, no, that may be a bit of a stretch. Interstellar is the most Christopher Nolan movie. But still, Tenet was my favorite movie. I shan't have it besmirched. I'm gonna give you their full legal name, address, social security number. Oh, jeez, hold on, I need to call a guy. A table for two, please. I'd like to make a reservation. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. 10 out of 12 you would say. I swear, Ash leaves and then Theo just comes in with this. I can't catch a break. I can't catch a goddamn break. Position is equal to velocity. There we go. I swear, who would call Tenet mid? I still can't get over that. I honestly wouldn't be able to tell that was filmed during the pandemic. It doesn't show in the movie. It was so really good. Okay. 10 in condition as 10. Was I probably 10 of 10? Wait, what? Really? Because I don't have any. At no point during watching Tenet was I, oh, they could have done this better. Well, maybe other than the reverse entropy explosion. That was a bit of a far-fetched, but you know. The reverse entropy explosion, that one. Where the car froze over due to fire. That one is a bit of a tricky one, but that's like my only nitpick. Do you remember that the actors' voices were very silent shit? Not really. I didn't catch that, no. To me they felt normal. I genuinely didn't catch that. That felt like just part of the movie. But it honestly, it is actually really curious like fact about it. That the mic guys couldn't be on scene. Who sees otherwise face the wall? I have a problem with Oppenheimer because Tenet is my favorite movie. But I do believe that Oppenheimer is better. Like, I personally prefer Tenet. But also, I do believe that Oppenheimer is a better movie. No, it's gonna look like an absolute shit. Hold on, let's pick some kind of more pleasing to the eyes color palette, maybe. Also, the background looks like absolute another shit. I bet I was a real communist and the movie tried to censor it because America. Was he really a communist? Or was he prosecuted as such? Because I know that he was like under investigation. It was a pretty shitty trial, but yeah, we're going in deep. There we go. His wife was in an American Communist Party, and because of that, he was persecuted by McShotty. Avalanche wrote an essay, Why Socialism, as a fun fact. Really? Because he says that he never openly joined the communists. I mean, okay, like, is it really that he was a real communist, or is it that they were goddamn labeling anything that had anything to do with unions as communist organizations? Was an executive committee of the American Civil Liberties Union, which is considered a communist front organization. Like, FBI association was in the ACP and all. I mean, yeah, so I mean, yeah, I suppose I see what you're saying. Like, he was certainly a supporter, just not really fully committed. Just about the McCarthy era, yeah. Read about Barbie associated with the Bolsheviks. Whenever you join in, the stream so quickly develops into communism. It is honestly marvelous. I just removed this actually. It becomes a mess. What if I... undo this a bit? No, the entire room is that this looks like shit. It's my first time in 3 days goes on Slack. I need to counter days since Far Remain has derailed the stream into communism. Well, I mean, hey, you know, that's what happens when a freedom hater joins in on the stream. You know, I bet you just wake up, first start your day by with a demonic ritual in order to take away as much freedom as possible. They want to make me frogs gay. Goddamn commies. I'm just Marona, it's just such a reality to communism. Why don't we have the fun movements like we had back in the day, where, you know, Oppenheimer could just go around the country joining different communist fronts. What if I want to join a communist front? What am I supposed to do then? I don't want to join the Communist Party, I want to join in a communist front. Actually to them. Absolutely not, really disgusting. Yuck. Except for universe. What is it that you want to add? By the way, the stretch from demonic rituals to mages, very smooth. Ah. Okay, I'm gonna let you finish, but then I think I'm going to end the stream because I'll be honest, I'm not feeling too well. That's that kind of day. It happens. It happens. People who can control energy itself, they cannot dictate or will themselves into reality, but they can morph it. Do elaborate, actually. Dictate, it is step into reality, but they can morph it. As in, because I mean, I don't want to be a nitpicking bitch, because I mean, if it's a, I did specify realistic, because I don't mean to be nitpicky, but the inner scientist in me has to. The thing is, if you can control energy, that kind of means you can do anything you want. Controlling energy is a very, very broad statement. As in, well, first of all, you know, E equals mc squared means, this basically means that you could turn energy into anything you want. Second of all, due to, well, that in combination with I forgot the name of it. Jeez, why? I don't know. I'm not thinking correctly, but basically the ability to create particles out of, in quotes, nothing. You can take energy, you can just create particles out of it if you want. Then there is also the Dirac C, I suppose. Depends how much you, but they can't go faster than light, create and destroy it. Any magical push has a reaction motion in your body. I see. I don't mean to be a prick here. I really don't mean to be a prick here. It's just that it's my inner, like, I've been going a bit too deep into theoretical physics recently. But controlling energy is very, very broad. If you want to go like that, I would, well, I don't mean to also backseat game you on this. That's pointless. If you want to specify it, however, in a way that's realistic, enough bullshit. I would suggest, I would suggest going into, hold on, let me think. Would definitely have to be potential energy, because modifying kinetic has ramifications that's really tricky. I do have to say, there is definitely one thing which could be neat, which is that if you want it to be hyper-realistic and if you want it to be magical, here would be my recommendation if you don't mind. We currently consider in a standard model our universe to be just made up of fields, basically. So, you know, we have the gluon field, quark field, electron field, electromagnetic field, we have the weak field, we have all of these fields, gravitational, etc, 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 and in all of these fields there are excitations that are the particles. You could, if you want to introduce like a hyper-realistic, in quotes, magic system, all you would need to do is just introduce an additional field on top of them and basically have an interaction between them where just like where the particles from that new field can decay into particles in other fields. And so then what this would basically mean is that if you're, you know, science majors, I'm going to call them, want to do something, like for example, have a shining ball of light, all they have to do is just take some energy, somehow turn that energy into your hypothetical particle in the magical field. Let's call it the magon, because why not? And then that particle could decay in different ways. And then depending on the way it decays, it could decay into particles on other fields, which means if you want a shining ball of light, then you need to create your magons that decay into photons. If you want to create a sandwich out of nothing, then you would need your magons to decay into very specific quarks and electrons. That would be very, very specific, but theoretically possible. Also, if you want to add a little bit of chaos to the mix, then usually the way it works is that decay of particles, if I am not mistaken, I could be wrong on this, but if I'm not mistaken, it is probabilistic based on the energy they have, which means that if you have a lot of energy, it can decay into a lot more things. So if you are trying to create a really, really bright ball of light, then you could either end up with a really bright ball of light, or you can just end up with, I don't know, a tiny black hole if you mess it up. Stuff like this. Or you could, it could decay into the Higgs, which would cause a massive mess. It could decay into all sorts of things. That's if you want to add a little bit of chaos. That's my, like, 2 cents of an idea. If you want it to be hyper realistic, then defining it based on a field was to do anything supernatural. They need to take energy from something, rich or unstable, like gasoline, air, human caloric energy. I see. Okay, that won't exactly work with what I suggested. So let me think. Or will it? Well, let me have a think. Another idea then could be all the sources. The tricky bit, once again, I do realize that it's completely unnecessary to be this realistic, but that's like the only way I can think about it, so I'm gonna go with it. The problem is that you're describing a very either chemical or nuclear energy. And chemical and nuclear energy is both effectively basically temperature, terms and conditions apply, but basically temperature as in movement of some kind of particles, right? Kinetic energy, average kinetic energy of particles. Because when you have stuff like gasoline, then that obviously burns, creates heat. When you have uranium rods, you can think of it as just, nucleons just bouncing about a lot. So once again, average kinetic energy of particles. To be fair, it is also shooting out some photons, if I recall correctly, but if I remember, alpha decay is just a helium atom, so that should still be kinetic. And kinetic energy has this like tendency to be really annoying to convert to anything. But at the same time, actually, that'd be quite an interesting concept. If this is a bit more abstract, a bit less like particle physics, but and a bit more statistical physics, but taking increase all the efficiencies. I would say then if you disregard the potential and go purely for kinetic of the form like EK is equal to something like, and then I don't know, constant character that looks fancy, epsilon. Why not epsilon? If you go for it like this way and say that your kinetic energy, really enigmatic epsilon, sorry, disturbing your work, don't worry. The thing is, I would really be struggling to work regardless. So it's nice to at least have something to keep in mind with. If you define your kinetic energy in your universe as something along the lines of this, then, okay, this is a bit far-fetched, but hear me out. Momentum and velocity both require the notion of a space-time, to be more exact. Without space-time, they don't make sense. I mean, obviously, because v is just x dot, it is just time derivative, right? Position in relation to time, literally modeling it right now in the background. So, if you have some kind of field that affects this space-time in a very peculiar way, kind of like a graviton field, I suppose. Well, not quite, but similar notion, similar idea, or rather that would be the inspiration. Then what you could have is you could have a field of particles that basically, no, but it wouldn't slow them down, would it? I'm trying to think of a mechanism that would allow this epsilon to transfer energy. Maybe by coupling? Yeah, no, gravity like field wouldn't work. That's because then you wouldn't really be transferring your kinetic energy properly. This is tricky. I have like 3 different ideas that would look similar on the surface, but none of them would actually affect the energy. This depends on for them are momentum, which allows to control momentum, direction, movement speed, dumping comes together direction for something else. Wait, maybe momentum is what's needed, not energy, actually. What no, what's actually needed is the velocity. That's what's actually needed. More specifically, what's needed is somehow the change of this, of the x dot. Changing of x, changing of the dot. This allows you to modify the movement. If I think I'm onto something. I think so. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Okay. Imagine that you have your gas canister set on fire, right? You have a whole bunch of particles that are just zooming about. Explosion, effectively. Whole bunch of heat. Now, okay, hear me out. You have energy change let it cold. Yeah, but I think okay, hear me out. You have your explosion. This doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is exactly. It could be an explosion of a gas canister. It could be inside of a nuclear reactor. Same difference. The point is the energy is just some kind of particles moving really fast. These particles could be molecules. These particles could be nucleons. Heck, these particles could be elementary particles because why not? We're having fun. Then, if you now this is magic, so obviously there is going to be an ethereal element to it, and I'm not actually going to define how consciousness can do that because, well, magic, wrap it in the drug. But if you have some kind of underlying field of magic, I imagine you can come up with a much nicer name for it, then if in that field you can somehow, if that field is normally stable and doesn't actually couple with any of the fields, then if your mages can actually make it couple with them, then what could happen is, as they couple, those particles could actually emit an excitation on that field. Kind of inspired by your vid on energy, and that energy is the construct, not really, but really exists or something. Yes. So, okay, think about it this way. You have a particle traveling really fast. For now, just a singular one. On its own, it would be traveling fast, it would be traveling forever, it would keep its momentum because that's just how physics works. However, if someone wants to extract energy from it, in what you're describing, what they could do is they could locally couple that field to the particle, which is a fancy way of saying they could make them both react, and then this particle could emit an excitation, so another particle on that field. Now, since this excitation requires energy, it has to come from the particle. The particle will slow down. So this is, for example, a hydrogen gas molecule. I'll pay you back. Right. But, okay, so this is your hydrogen molecule. What happens then is it slows down because the energy gets transferred onto the field. Then you have this particle right here, the particle of magic, the mana, the whatever you want to call it. And then this particle can decay. Decay into what? That depends. Depends on the energy, depends on, honestly, whatever you want to do with the field. Which means that if you have, the effect it would have is that if I, for example, am able to couple this field to, well, I suppose the strong field for now, I think. I'm not certain. The quarks field maybe. Not certain exactly which one. One of them. It's extraction of energy, not quite clear how it will work exactly, but bear with me. If I'm able to couple them together, what would essentially happen is you can imagine a canister exploding, and then as I couple them together, the explosion will just like fizzle out almost instantly. All of the particles would slow down. All of the fire would disappear. It would be cold all of a sudden. Potentially, it could be actually colder than the area around it. So you have an explosion, and all of a sudden, it turns from a fiery ball of doom into a snow globe, effectively. Really quickly. It just fizzles out. That energy is no longer in the form of the thermal. It's no longer average kinetic, but it didn't disappear. It's in that field. That field on its own isn't visible. You can't see it. You can't do anything like that. But these particles can decay. So for example, they could decay into photons. And if they decay into photons, what happens is we get light. Even nicer, energy of a photon is proportional to the frequency, which means that you could have a really bright visible ball, for example, of light, or you could have, in quotes, not so bright because it wouldn't be visible, but a just ball of radiation or a radiation beam. So in that scenario, like this mage idea would be, you have a canister of gas, you blow it up, the explosion, and you turn the explosion into those excited particles on the field, and then you turn those particles into what you want. Energy ready to be categorized into chemical, nuclear, kinetic, potential, so they can be from much different items. That's basically what they would mean. The uncategorized energy would basically mean particles on that field. And it being categorized means that the field would just interact, would just couple to something. So in that scenario, the magic would actually take a form of some person's ability to couple the field, to make them react. Yeah, I'm honestly not gonna lie. There are like certain aspects of it which are obviously ethereal, magical, and all these things, but that is genuinely quite pleasing from a physics perspective. So if I am that kind of mage, and if there is like, I don't know, someone I want to just kill with a skeleton divine death blast, then what I would do is I would find some kind of reactor, nuclear reactor, fuel rod, whatever. Now that nuclear reactor, I'm just going to do it with a box because I don't feel like drawing it. That reactor on the inside would have a whole bunch of chain nuclear reactions, where one nucleus bumps into another, it's a chain reaction obviously. But then if I couple it to the magical field, all of a sudden, all of these particles would slow down like crazy. And instead what we would get is, beforehand, just a flat field with nothing, and this is going crazy. But then as I couple it, right here would have crazy fluctuations, because we'd have a shit ton of particles, but the reactor itself would go cold and dormant. There we go. This is an optional part. The most of those will be like secular, so no majors. Yeah, but still, hey, this is fun. I'm actually enjoying this. The point is, then we have this field right here, and then we take this field and we uncouple it from the reactor again. So now we have this field which has an unfathomable amount of energy, crazy lot. The problem being, it's not coupled to anything. That energy has nothing to do. It is about as empty of energy as it can be. The energy is there, it's just it doesn't really do anything until we couple it to another field. So then if I couple it to the electromagnetic field, then all of a sudden what happens is we get a whole bunch of photons. These particles rapidly decay into photons, and depending on the control of the coupling, they could just decay into really, really high frequency photons, which would be quite a deadly beam. There are some pickles with it. For example, the exact mechanics of how this field would have to couple in order to extract only the kinetic energy is, well, let's say the gray area, but hey, it's something. This is what 4 sphere mages and Mage the Ascension do. I am not familiar with that. Complex magic themed TT RPG in the modern setting. Well, yeah, there we go. Science! Basically magic. I like this because you can already in real life think of just fields as magic. If the GM would add mages, then shit, it becomes a shield. I'm still thinking if there's a way to improve it. Well, I suppose if you consider your space-time itself to have like an inherent field of something to do with movement, where basically you could imagine it as just very localized. So if you have some kind of so if you have now I mean, okay, I am going way too deep into it, and this is completely unnecessary because I want to add technomancers. They are very cool. I want to be a technomantic pharmacist. I like that. That is brilliant. Also, my goodness, I am going into a rabbit hole because I just got an idea. If you have a velocity field, which basically means it would be a field with particles on it, and those particles would create a local curvature in the space-time, so that space is curving closer. Local curvature in space-time, that would mean that if you have a particle moving forward like this, it wouldn't be actually moving forward, only it would be a particle, so something like a quark, for example, with the velociton right in front of it. The problem is then that the velocitons themselves would also have to... Oh, would they? No, they wouldn't. If these two are tied together, then this would kind of be like a particle just moving forward. And even better, because if these are still your excitations on the field, you could couple them to your magic field, and that would allow you to basically suck away the kinetic energy. As in, you would make those velocitons disappear, and they would make the particles they're tied to just stop in their tracks. The only problem being that if this curves spacetime, then that causes the particle to go on, but the velociton itself would be static, because there is then no mechanic for the velocity of the velociton, if that makes sense. No, virtual particles, the object to be momentum or something. I mean, yeah, I'm just thinking of like the most logical mechanism for that. And I think causing fields to couple is definitely the way to go. It's just that I am honestly over-engineering it like crazy for no reason. How would the velociton move? What if it would be a one-dimensional universe of just time? No, that's not gonna work. We need degrees of freedom. There's no other chair happiness. It's a pleasure. Humans are magic for you. Nice to metal. That makes sense. What if I have what if there was a favorite like this? Because then that would tie them both together, bring them closer. Well, that would be a problem, because if there are two... No, I mean, if there are too many velocitons, you would get a black hole. Like, instantly. You would get a lot of them, in fact. And I don't know if they would radiate away quick enough. And come away, they can do. they can't conceptualize, and they will get everyone the slam and for playing kid got into to read up their skills. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, the velocitons are a bit of a grey area. However, I will say, I am focusing way too much on this, by the way. I don't know why I'm so invested. It's just fun. But I will say that this would have some interesting ramifications that you could be interested in. If, here's the idea. You're a nerd. You got them right, I am. The interesting ramifications. So, okay. So here's. I'm going to summarize the most important thing for you. So we have different kinds of fields: electromagnetic, strong, velociton, and the magic field. Those are the two ones that are made up now. Now, the magic in the universe, what it would mean effectively is it would mean the ability of a conscious mind to couple those fields together. What I mean by that is it would mean that certain humans would have, I'm assuming humans, would basically have the ability to dictate the rules for how these fields interact with each other. The reason why it's important is because this would basically cause the skill of a mage to be just their ability for different rules to be added. Some of us still. Okay, then here's the thing then. Hi there, Unholy Fingerbow, hi. What this would mean is that I made up this field because, well, it's necessary, but what you could do then is, depending on the field, their interactions could be more difficult. As in, for example, the easiest one could be the velociton, the movement. The more difficult one, for example, could be electromagnetic. The most difficult one will obviously be the quarks and strong interaction. And the ramifications it has would be basically that when it comes to extracting energy, the easiest form would be explosions and fire and heat, all of that. Then more difficult would be light. And then the most difficult, but by far the best, would be just matter disintegration. As in, if you could master the third one, what it would basically mean is that you could have a brick, and then in your hand, that brick would just crumble to dust and disappear. And that would be a shit ton of energy. Like, that brick would be... I could calculate it on the fly if you'd like, but it would be nuclear explosion levels. Mass doesn't mess around. Now, it could also go the other way, which means that the easiest thing to do would be to move things. Excellent energy. Yeah, exactly. It could also go the other way, which means that the easiest things to do would be to move things. More difficult things to do would be to make stuff glow. And the most difficult stuff to do would be to just create mass. And that is consistent. That is pretty reasonable. Because then, if you're more advanced, you could also go directly. So for example, you could transfer movement directly into this strong field, for example. And what this would effectively do is, it would mean that if something is moving fast, you can just stop it and then blow it up. And when I say blow it up, I don't mean classical explosion. I mean like a mighty future weapon kind of explosion. And all of that could be with magic being defined as just the ability to shape how fields couple, and by introduction of these two fields. This one to effectively function as just a blank energy storage, and this one because you need to extract energy out of movement. And in this case, this one is a bit tricky because that would mean that if you have some kind of arbitrary field, then what the velociton would have to do is it would have to be in the direction of its movement, and it would have to curve space-time so that the particle isn't actually moving, it just appears to be moving. Well, that's a story for another time. I got way too invested in this. But there, a painfully scientifically accurate system of magic. That's the pitch. I hope it helps. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go now because I have a headache. I have a massive headache. If you have any more questions for how blank, then do let me know because this is genuinely quite fun. I might consult Renko on this. This is silly, but this is silly in a very fun way. Anyway, as I mentioned, I have a headache. I need to go and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm gonna figure out something. And for now, that'll be it. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.